Okay, my YouTube people, I'm going to start tackling the wiring on this 85 Ironhead Sportster. This is the relay that they're using for the horn. Now, the horn was over here and I removed it because it was an ugly thing. I have it in another video. There's this wire here and it goes back to the relay. There's this wire here, I think it went to the hot. I removed that, and then here's the relay. So you have this ugly 20 amp wire. I'm sure that went to the hot. I have this wire here, and if you see, it has this butt splice right here, and that came down to terminal 86. I have a jumper wire from 85 to 87, and then the power wire goes to 30. The way this relay works is 85 and 86 are the coil of the relay, and 30 to 87 are the normally open contacts. If the horn's not internally grounded, you'll run a short wire from the horn where it mounts here to one of these bolts, and that'll provide ground. You don't need to run a ground all the way back to the battery like I believe this person did. So that I'm clear on how this works is, on one side of the contact you're going to have power all the time, and then power will transfer to the other contact, which is 87, and fire the horn. I'm going to do away with a lot of this mess because whoever did this did not know what they were doing. So they have a power wire on 30, and that makes sense. You want battery power on 30 to fire the horn. That's what this is. Since your system has master circuit breakers, you really don't need this to be fused. Really, you should come off one of your breakers with a hot wire and come over to this relay, and that's what I'm going to do, and just get rid of this nastiness. So I'll pull that wire off. Next, you have a jumper from 85 to 87, and I'm not sure why that's there, so that's wrong. So now I'm going to proceed to wire this the proper way. One of the circuit breakers there, I'm going to provide power over to this relay. Power will come in and I will jump that from 30 to 86. Also, I'm going to remove this and solder it and heat shrink it because I don't even know what that is. I don't even know why anybody does that. Lastly, any of these connectors, I'll take off the plastic and put some solder on those wires and quickly solder those. You want to be careful when you're soldering these not to wick up the wire. And that'll take care of this horn circuit, and I'll show you what that looks like as I go along. Okay, so here you can see where I respliced the wire so it didn't have two splices in it, and it's done right with soldered and heat shrink on it. Now I run it back. Got to run it back and down and over to the relay. Now I have it ran over to the relay, and I also have the power wire ran over here to this breaker. I just have to see why it seems like the ground goes away when the power's on, so must be, maybe it's grabbing a ground through a light bulb or something. Anyway, I'll troubleshoot that and see what's going on with that and let you know. So I figured out the problem with the horn relay. I, of course, went to the factory wiring diagram. The horn's grounded directly internally, and then a wire comes up here, comes down over to here, back up. Long story short is it comes to the horn switch, but it comes down into this power connector, which is right here. There's an orange wire that goes to the horn switch. The bottom line is the horn switch supplies power, and you don't need an interposing relay. Harley didn't have one, so joke's on me. All that wiring I did to the relay and all that, took it all out, got rid of it. Now I have a hot wire coming straight back to the horn, and that'll take care of that. The other issue that this bike has is the previous owner was riding it and it would cut out. And then brought it to a shop, and the shop jiggled the wires up in here and it would cut out. And what I found was there's a wire that had heat shrink on it up in here, but some of the bare wire broke through the heat shrink and was grounding out. So the next thing I'm going to do, put the battery to the bike and try and fire it up, and I will video that as it's happening. And if you've never seen a Sportster and how they do everything in the headlight bucket, and it is terrible. It's one of these connectors that's heat shrinked that had the wire poking out of it that was grounding out. So the reason there were so many splices up in that bucket is because somebody went to chrome switches, and when they did, they wired their own switches in. Really did an okay job, but not that great. I fixed up a few things, and that took care of it. So with that being said, I'm going to put some fuel to it and see if I can't get it to fire up, and then I'll shake the wires around and make sure nothing else is shorted. And I think I'm pretty much at the end of what I need to do, but we'll have to see. Alright, here we are a few days later with the Ironhead Sportster, and I did do a little wiring work up in the headlight bucket. I took out a few wires that weren't needed, cleaned it up a little bit. I know it doesn't look like it, but this is the way they are. So I have it about ready to start. I got to put some fuel in it, and then I'm going to give it a start. I got the battery in, it's all charged, got a new battery. I have the front brakes on it, but don't have any brake fluid in them because I'm looking to change the handlebars. I don't have the rear brakes on at all because I'm still waiting for a rebuild kit for the master cylinder and the caliper. I have the CV carb all set up with the wires ready to go. New fuel line on it. The last thing I need to do is get a vent on the breather, and then it'll be ready to ride. One thing I do want to say is anytime I'm starting a bike that's been sitting for a long time or a fresh engine, I always start them on 2-stroke gas, just to make sure that if they're pumping a lot of fuel into them, they get enough lubrication into the cylinders. So if you see it puffing a little bit, that would be why. A lot of times you can't see much. Okay, so here we go. Start it right up, no issues. Sounds like it runs pretty good, and I'm happy about that. So it started easier than I thought it was going to, and it really purrs and runs nice. Well, I got the headlight in it, and a few things I still got to do to it. Like I said, finished all the brakes front and back. I want to change out the bars. Needs a really good wash, which I'll take care of that in the next couple of days. Thought it was going to go to a family member, but it doesn't look that way, so maybe up for sale. Let me know what your thoughts are if you're interested. I'll show you what it looks like after I get the bars on and get it cleaned up. So as you can see, I got the new handlebars on there with a shorter set of mirrors. They look amazing compared to the ones that were on there. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave any questions down in the comments. I get back to everybody. I appreciate it, and have a great day.